Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games and a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Pro Cycling Manager 2018 Career Mode Episode 56. We head into the Tour of Utah 7-stage race. First stage, hill stage? Not so sure about that, but 135 kilometers, and, well, it is uphill for the bulk of it. Last year, Keegan Swerble managed 4th place at this event, behind Uran and Van Garderen. Stage 2, again classified as hills, looks pretty flat to me. Stage 3, significant climb, but it's only one. Maybe we can get through that. Stage 4, sprint day. Stage 5, sprint day. Stage 6, ouch. That's going to be the hard one for a team such as mine. And then again on stage 7. But if Swerble got it done last year, maybe, just maybe, we can hang on and stay competitive in this somehow or another. Looks like we've got a good group of riders. Veldeman for Vecchi. There's Swerble again, Conchi, and Osorio all heading to this one. So maybe, just maybe, we can pull something off. Before we jump into that, quick review of where we're at, what's going on, what has happened, what's the dealio with the team. Well, transfers, teams, pro, us. All right. So we are growing, we are expanding from 14 riders to 17 riders. We're going to get a little bit better in the time trial. But you can see for the most part, the team will be pretty similar. We're going to drop off on cobbles a little bit as Van Hemlen is one of the riders that I'm losing. Didn't want to retain his services for the cost. He wanted a huge pay increase and really didn't have any sort of specialty that stood out. Wasn't worth the salary. If he would have stayed on for cheap, I would have loved to have him. But Van Hemlen is kind of a glorified domestique. So in his place, I was able to get Lucas Hamilton to sign on. Definite upgrade as, well, he could climb. He could handle this tour of Utah, unlike the other riders. And so he'll join Osorio as team leader. And then we get Veldeman, Bax, Conchi all back. Bax has recently leveled up here. Marini and Vervecchi hanging out on 72s. A whole slew of 71s. Joining them is Adam DeVos, Canadian rider. Alexander Cohen, Canadian rider. And Graydon Staples make a contingency of 3 Canadian riders as we are moving on to a new sponsor next season. That is Nabob, and it is Canadian. So we'll have at least a base of 3 riders. That may not be enough, but at least it's something. And then we also grabbed in a super high potential rider who has no professional experience in Javier Fuentes. The guys that we're picking up, Hamilton coming from Mitchelton Scott. And then we've got, I think all 3 of these are Canadian teams, the HNR block, as well as this one. Though that does not look like a... Curious about that. Well, anyway, does not look like Canadian name, at least on the surface. Looks more like, I don't know, Norwegian? Swedish? I have no idea for certain. I'm kind of taking a shot in the dark on that one. Well, anyway, that is the extent of our salary. So we're growing a little bit more at the top end. So slight improvement. But more importantly, we've added some depth as we're going to pick up 3 more riders. So a time like we have here over this last little chunk, especially in July, where we had a bunch of injured riders, was a real problem for us. It was difficult to manage more than 2 races at a time. We'll still not really be able to manage more than 2 races at a time. What we will be able to do, though, is consistently throughout the season be able to manage 2 races and rotate riders through those. And that's a big step for a Pro Continental team. The big thing that we're looking forward to, though, is to see what happens with Nabob down the road. With the Nike sponsorship, we were looking at your neutral being keep the same budget the next year. If you do well, you get 6,000 more. If you do really well, it's 12,000 more. So 6 and 12. I'm hoping for something different next year. If it's just 6 and 12 again, well, it's a useless change. But I'm hoping that it's going to turn out to be something different. Let's say it's 10, right? 10, well, you double that, that's 20. 20 is still not a big increase, 20,000. But when we start to think about that and break that down, current sponsorship, I get 12. That sponsorship, if I get 20, I mean, that's a healthy gap. That's 8,000 more. And when we're talking about 8,000 versus 12,000, that's a 67% increase. So that actually ends up being a pretty significant jump. And I kind of wish I had made the move a year ago. Better late than never. Let's get into the Tour of Utah. 15K left in this one. It is definitely time to form a sprint train. The unfortunate thing for me, though, is last year's top 5 and team leader for me, Keegan Swerble, dropped 4 minutes down. And because of something very dumb that Wim Veldeman is primarily to blame for, as well as myself. I mean, I'll take the bait on that one and accept a decent amount of blame. Right here, this flat section, this little plateau before you continue the climb. Right as I was entering that, coming off that steeper section, the team was crying, I need water, I need water, I need water. And this is where it was my fault. I waited too long on that. However, reason for it was the distance. I was trying to get that race distance to where you're close enough to the finish where you don't need to get water again. And you can see we have 15 kilometers left and everybody's nearly out of water, minus Swerble, who's been riding on his own now for a while and decided to get water again. But I sent Veldeman back to get water just before hitting that plateau. He should have made it back up quickly and gotten water to everyone. He didn't. He came back very slowly, very gradually, and took too long. And by time he did get back to the front of the field, half the team went to get water themselves. Half. Swerble, one of those. And Swerble went to the back of the peloton to get water. And as he puts his hand up in the air, the riders that he is with were suddenly dropped. So Swerble was suddenly off the back of the peloton. And then went a million miles an hour once he got the water and attacked super, super hard. And within like 10 meters had no energy and fell off the back. I worked with him for a while. I let it recover a little bit and then started playing catch up. And he actually pretty much caught the tail end of the field and those riders got dropped. So then he had to keep pushing and caught the back end of the field and those riders got dropped. And so riders just kept stringing off the back end of the field and he never actually caught up. And so here we are, no Swerble in the field, and eventually he ran out of energy, so it didn't happen. So he will not be fighting for a top 10 in this year's race. Unlucky for him, but he was never going to be my main guy anyway, so I suppose it's all good. Alright, now that's a pretty small lead-out train, and I have 3 guys in contention for the race now without Swerble. They are Conchi, Osorio, and Vervecchi, all strong climbers. And I think Osorio's kind of the main guy, but it's very close. And they're going to tag on to the back, which actually means I only have 2 lead-out riders with Marini. So we're not going to attack anytime soon. Definitely not with 14 kilometers left and 3 riders still off the front. So we're going to wait. We're going to go a little bit further down the road. Come on. The 3 riders back together. They are attacking as... Ooh, we're down to 64 riders with that little crash now. Little uphill section. 10K to go. I think I can just about start pushing for Veldeman, at least at a gradual rate here. Use your gel. He's got to lead us out for a good long while here, so I don't want to attack hard. I just kind of want to be in the right position to attack later. This is going to be a rough show. I definitely did not bring a sprint team here. Now, Swerble, now I can put him into a future sprint as he's out of contention. He's just not there this time.
The finish line is getting close. The riders just passed the 5 kilometers road sign.
4.5K. Ah!
Just reeled in the escape group.
Close to an accident there. Okay, escape group pulled in. Use your gel, and we're gonna now start pushing at a 94 here. 95, 98. Okay, Van Ginniken over the top. Lead out. Oops. Hold on. A little off on that one. Inside 1K. Inside. There we go. And we sprint. Here we go. Marini. Short distance. Lots of power. He's in a good position. He's got the inside. Can he get around Van Ginniken quickly? No, it's going to be Van Ginniken. Can he hang on? I don't think so. He's going to take second. He does. Van Ginniken in the lead out takes second. Marini never got a good enough turn of pace there. That was a pretty slow acceleration for Marini. So we end up second, fifth. Lose to a rider we should not have lost to. Maybe I should have started a little sooner. I think I went too late at 700 meters. But there were plenty of riders lost there, so quite a few riders are going to be out of contention, including Swerble. The last couple stages will do the most to decide this race, though. Not our best day in the sprint. I was worried about only having 2 lead-out guys, and I actually went too easy. 14K to go in stage number 2. Breakaway group of 4 riders just in front of us. Little punchy section here, and we've got an attack. Sean Bennett, he's the favorite in Gogol. This is not necessarily a good thing, but I want to hit the top before I start to do something about that. 12K to go. Let's do something about it. Swerble already just about done. I do still have everyone here, so I will set up Marini and Van Ginniken for a sprint with Veldeman as the main lead out. And then I will get what we can from Swerble real quick, if anything. I'll have to keep an eye out for... Actually, how about we do this? For Vecchi, Vervecchi's looking like he might not be strong enough to get to the end, so I'll have him at the end of the line. Kind of a rear guard. And then we'll get a quick acceleration out of Swerble, and then Veldeman will take over. But at 11 kilometers, it's way too soon for this, so we just got to make sure these lead riders, like Barta already being reeled in, that's good. 2 riders in Bennett and Gogol are tracked down. Downhill for the next little while, and then it'll be uphill towards the finish line, so Veldeman can push a little bit harder for now. And there's a split, just 22 riders now in the peloton is all. And it's down to 6K. So I think Veldeman can push a little bit. It's going to level off somewhat. I'd like to bring in these 2. There we go. Oop, brought in 1. Bennett attacks again. Get Van Ginneken ready. Vervecchi is going to start falling off here, so he's going to get dropped. That's going to drop him out of contention. Oh, Veldeman's done. And we have 2.9K. That's a good time to use everybody's gel, but Van Ginneken, it's your time to go, but not at 91. 95. Try to set up Marini here. Gotta get some work done. He's already almost there. Now it's 99. Vervecchi off the back. Inside 1K. There we go. Now we sprint. Marini, what can you do this time? Here we go. Van Ginneken and... Nope. Marini's going to get there. Marini's going to get there. Got that one. Nicholas Marini for the win over breakaway man Sean Bennett, who tried to take the solo victory. Ryan Christensen third. Gogol fourth. Osorio fifth. Van Ginneken sixth. There's Conchi in eighth. Ian Boswell 14th. Dombrowski 19th. Well done. 4 guys in the top 8, including the stage victory. A rare feat this season for us after stepping up to Pro Continental. We are outscoring everybody else consistently, but we're not pulling very many victories. So it's nice to get one, especially at a fairly prestigious race in the Tour of Utah. When we do have 3 World Tour teams here. The 3 American ones. EF, Trek, BMC. Of course, BMC in real life. CCC now. And a lot of riders are gone. But you'll see that with the next game, the next edition. And that's coming out very shortly. By the way, the date has fluctuated multiple times. So if you have not heard the updates on that. Initially, it was slated to come out sometime in June, and then they finalized June 20th as the date. But then it was pushed back to the 4th of July, exactly 2 weeks later. Not an ideal time for an American who's got, family to spend that day with. Events to partake in Independence Day. But then it was changed yet again to the week in between. So instead of a 2-week delay, it was going to be a 1-week delay. So now we're looking at the 27th of June currently. I hope it sticks with that. I like the 27th of June. Though F1 2019 comes out that same day, and that's tricky. But I still prefer that date. F1 will have to wait a day or two to get introduced. I will get the content out as quickly as I can on release date. It might be late in that day as I have quite a bit of prep work for that, and then recording and editing and then rendering and then posting, and I'm trying to do that for both the new career mode and new pro cyclist modes. This series, meanwhile, I'll be recording some episodes ahead of time in order to allow myself the leeway to work on all those new series coming out. So Marini takes the stage. Bennett in the race lead over Marini and Hansen. Those are the top 3. Van Ginneken in 4th. Most of those guys will not be there at race's end, though. So Osorio and Conchi in a good place right now. How long is the list? 49 riders. 49 riders left in contention. And like I said, many of those will not be there in later stages. The Il Lombardia, 12 teams have requested an invitation. They will take 7, so roughly half, and we are on that list. There's still just over 60 kilometers left in this race. Breakaway group of 5, never given a very long leash because 2 of the riders in that top 5 are in that group of about 50 riders still technically in contention. And just as we hit the base of the one serious climb of the day, Category 1, it begins to snow. Sounds like it might be raining as well. So even though Marini is second place in the race overall, I have zero expectation of him getting up and over this climb. So he has spent the day protecting Osorio. So our top 3 guys, Conchi, Vervecchi, and Osorio, all protected riders. Swerble on his own. All the sprintmen and or support guys. Veldeman in such a weird role for this race, as he is usually one of our top guys. Here, he's been the domestique because the others are either sprinters or climbers. He's the only one who has no useful role here. So we get the climb going. 16.3 kilometers, about 6% gradient, 2,800 meters worth of climbing. There's the break already, just about reeled in. And we are just starting to ramp up into the orange section here of the climb. You can see partway through it already. And that's going to take us to not quite halfway. It'll level off for a little bit, and then we'll go downhill momentarily before really ramping up to the final portion of the peak. But even just at an 80, you can see Swerble occasionally blinking red. For the most part, the guy's doing well so far on the climb. Oh, here's one of those funky glitches. I'm going to leave the map up so you don't see that. I'm sure you saw it anyway, but that's ugly how it does that. Hope they fix that in the near future. You know, like in a game releasing any day now. Alright, so how are we looking? Marini still there, even though he's done. So there's not a whole lot of pace right now. Williams being reeled in. Yeah. Last 2 guys.
The little promenade is over. The group has been overhauled.
1 remaining. Now the pace starting to pick up. So you can see Marini sliding backwards. And Ginnikin now sliding backwards. And with that, that's 2 guys out of contention. We're going to set them to auto now. And we're going to rework this. Swerble is going to pick up Osorio. Ultimate already on Conchi. That's going to leave Vervecchi on his own. And we'll ramp up the pace just a little bit to an 82 here. I have potential to maybe do something this stage, but looking at the long descent, I don't expect much to happen. Realistically, what I see here is a small group, maybe 30 or 40 riders getting over the top together. Roughly half of those, or a little more than half of those, being those that are still in this race, still in contention. Number of others out and eliminated, so really shrinking the group of contenders down to about 25 or 30. So what I see this is as a stage that you can lose the race, but not a stage that you can go out and really win the race. So I'm not planning on attacking here really in any way, shape, or form as Peloton continues to shrink, now down to 60 riders. We're about to hit that flattened area, kind of into that now. We're going to go over the top of this, downhill for just a moment before we really pick up again. A little bit of recovery for guys like Veldeman and Swerble, which is good. And here we go. Pace starting to pick up.
This climb features some dreadful percentages.
Steepest section. Over the top. And then just a quick downhill before we go up again. One final time, and it's going to get to the steepest it's been here in just a little bit after we go around that bend. Kind of take one more turn to the right here, and this is where it's going to get really steep. And Gittikin's out the back finally. Took him long enough, 2.5 minutes down, quickly growing to 3 minutes down. 24 riders is all, so this is actually smaller than what I expected of the group. Veldeman, though, Veldeman looks like he's about to get dropped. Veldeman, not much of a climber. Decent on hills, but climbing just a 64, but he's on form right now. Making that a 68, and he was just about hanging on. He just misses from here. Put him on auto. He might be able to get back on here in just a little bit. Over the top, depends on how much more he loses. There's still a little more uphill here, and there we go. He's back on. He's back on. Good.
Watch out! A team leader is falling behind.
Good. So I actually could have a little sprint here, and Veldeman's a good sprinter. Ish. Better than the other guys, and probably better than all or most of the remainder of the group. The other 18 riders that are here are going to be climbers and not sprinters, and Veldeman could have a decent chance on this stage. Let's speed things up as we're going to have a quiet period of time here for a good while. And actually, I need some water. And Veldeman, you're the one domestique around, even though I want you for the sprint now. That's your job. I probably should have just had Swerble do it. Alright, down we go. 20 kilometers. 6 riders trying to get back on, and they've made it, unfortunately. So that is going to up the number of riders contending the sprint at the end for the stage. 14 kilometers.
We're into the downhill section. The riders can take a breather, but they can't let their guard drop. A group of riders
12
has come
kilometers.
Across, but they all look ready to set off again. Holy cow, that was a fall.
It's still on descent. I really don't want to turn this into a sprint train right now. That's dangerous.
10 kilometers left.
But I do want to kind of get formed up for whatever it's going to be. Really, I've just got Swerble leading out Veldeman. I could maybe use Vervecchi in front, because ultimately it's Osorio and Conchi that are the true contenders. Have Swerble go first, Vervecchi go late. Yeah, let's do that. It's not a proper lead out, but it'll be something. Yeah, see, Veldeman, a 71 and a 70, but double 72s today. Okay, Swerble's ready, but it's not time. It's not time. Not quite yet. It's going to start to level off here shortly. But I will use his gel so he is ready. And actually, now it's starting. I don't need 99s. Give me like a 94. And if we're smart, and hopefully I have a little bit of intelligence, you guys need to get on as well, just in case. Don't get left behind. 6K to go.
Oh, the list of those left behind.
And Swerble now pushing. The group is actually up to 34 riders, and most of them should be pretty fresh at this point and ready to contest whatever, however. 95, we're going to push as, here we go, here comes EF attacking. Wait. Use your gel. Attacking 99s. There we go. Vervecchi ready to go. Vervecchi. Give him that lead out. Give him a sprint.
Who's going to be the first of the line today?
Now everybody sprint. Feldman, can you actually sprint this one out? No, the yellow jersey is here. Vervecchi's going to hang on. It's Sean Bennett. Oh, Vervecchi's third. Joyce gets him by inches. Feldman takes 6th. Swerble 7th. Still a good finish and worth points. Osorio 11th. Conti 12th. Small group finish. It's about a minute to the group behind, so hopefully they do keep that separation as those guys have not been in contact for the last 45 kilometers. Vervecchi barely got going. He never really even got into clearance. He's still almost full strength. Vervecchi's the one who's a bit tired. Check into the standings here in a moment.
And here are the race highlights that we've selected for you.
As long as it's only 34. Good. Okay, that lowers the number of riders in contention a bit. Sean Bennett expands his lead, though. Vervecchi down to 4th. Osorio 5th. Conchi 7th. And we're down to 28 riders. 28 riders left in contention. And I've still got 4 of those. 17 kilometers left. It's a sprint stage, but it's undulating throughout, and it has done some damage.
Mustn't appreciate the fact that there is a breakaway, given that the pack has increased its speed.
16 riders off the back already. Swerble starting to fall back and in danger. He's out of contention already, so I'm going to set him to auto. Marini, the sprinter, and Ginnikin to lead him out. Feldman in front. There's that normal set. Now Swerble would be in the mix, but he's too tired. So the other 3 taken to the back. So 3-man group, 16K. It is too soon to go. There are still 2 little climbs coming. Feldman, I need you up front, so just kind of casually get up there, will you? So definitely some uphill sections that could favor a team like mine. Knows how to deal with it appropriately, if I do. Veldeman can certainly lead us over this first one. Pushing at 87, we just split the group. A breakaway group of 37 now. Or not quite, the others fighting to get back on. Whoa, hello.
There are just 10 kilometers left.
As we approach the top of this first section, Veldeman can really start to accelerate now. 9 kilometers left. Quick downhill, and then we're gonna hit it again. Swerble now off the back on his own. Everybody else is doing fine. You should gel. Okay, now it's 96 riders. I'm going to try to stick with Veldeman for a little bit here. 88. Yeah, he's handling that. 4.5K. Then Ginnikin, get him ready.
And off he goes. He's giving it one last go.
Still just now starting to pull in the breakaway group. 3.3 kilometers, so Van Ginnikin can't quite go full speed here. Where's my guys? Rainey, what happened? Rainey just lost the wheel of Van Ginnikin. I need to slow up and wait for him to catch. Meanwhile, Veldeman, he's too tired to do anything, so... Oh, I lost Vervecchi too. Everything just got tossed for a second. I think these guys attempting to break away has somehow made a temporary split. It's just 2K to go. use your gels. But let's see what happens here.
Who's going to be the first to the line today?
There we go. Now Van Ginneken can go 99. And Marini should be on his wheel already with a little bit of acceleration. And now it's time to sprint. Marini, I don't know. He's way too far back. I mean, looking right now, he's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. He's 10th wheel. Marini is 10th wheel. Can he get it done? 700 meters to the line. No, way too slow to sprint. We're going to be lucky to get top 10 at all here.
Great stuff. Teamwork really paid off, and their sprinter brings home the bacon.
Van Ginneken 8. Marini moves up one spot to 9. 76 riders here in the peloton. Probably not leaving anybody else behind from that main group, but it could have been. It's a strange one. We're still probably at that 18 or 20 riders left in contention. Vervecki still in 4th, Osorio 6th, Conchi 10th. Veldeman slips to 19th. 25 riders left in contention. Is that down from 28? 26? Lost at least one rider from contention. Alright, quick updates. Aqua Blue, their budget going up. Rally Cycling is going up. Yates, Simon, staying with Mitchelton Scott. Kruiswijk staying with Lotto Soudal. Valverde extending with Movistar. Van Avermaet extending with Quick-Step. Team Sky recruiting none other than Geraint Thomas, so he's coming back to Sky. 15 kilometers left in this race. We're going to form up our sprint train. We may not be competing for much. There's still a breakaway. The initial breakaway, 7 riders. They had 8. They lost 1 over one of the climbs, but 7 remain, and they still have nearly a minute and a half, so it's going to be really tough to catch them here in the final 15 kilometers, especially with the kind of sprint train that I'm able to produce in this race. I at least have Swerble available this time, who has worked hard getting the water and leading his teammates out. So we've got Marini and Ginneken. Veldeman and Swerble. Vervecki looking really strong right now. Osorio and Conchi. And they'll tack on to the back. Marini didn't do so great over the climbs. I can't go at 15K. It's just too early.
And off he goes. He's giving it one last go.
I've got to try to do something here. 14.
The lead over the pack is dwindling. They're moving along at a fair lick. You've just got to hang on.
Why is Marini the one following you? Because they're all still getting sorted. Oh, and he's already done. What I'm going to do is try to get you to grab onto the back end of the group, and maybe you can recover. Whoa! Not 99. Sorry.
Only 10 kilometers
Not
left.
99. Okay, Swerble, yeah, not working out, not hanging on. Set him to auto here. Group is shrinking though, 102 riders and others struggling. Veldeman leading us out. Definitely closing in the leaders. That's not them that we're reeling in. That we must be on a closed loop here for the finish. And getting ready to go. He's that last lead out guy. He's going to have to go early just to have a chance. Earlier than I'd like him to be attacking. So Marini's not going to get a very proper lead out here. 2 kilometers. It's later than I thought. 99.
And the final sprint is off. Who's going to be the first to the line today?
Okay, sprint everyone. Marini going from 1K out, not having the best position here. The breakaway is going to win it. Or have they? They do. Ben Wolf hangs on. Patrick Collins nearly takes it. So Ben Wolf from the breakaway. Wow, that was interesting. Marini gets 9th with, what, 4 or 5 breakaway guys ahead of him. Takes about 4th in the sprint itself that mixes with it. So breakaway by inches hangs on to win the stage. So after 5 stages, I have 5 riders in contention out of 25 that could still win this race. Sean Bennett with a little bit of an edge. Sean Bennett's an average of 66 overall. Much stronger on the hills. Not that great on the mountains, just a 70, so he can be beaten. Ryan Christensen, a contender, 73. Barta, better on the hills. The Ethiopian rider here, Gourmet, could be a contender. Carpenter's a contender. Boswell, maybe. Sierra. Dombrowski, definitely. Taylor Eisenhart. And that's it. So it's wide open, but not that many contenders. There's, what, maybe 5 other decent climbers outside of my 4 strong climbers. So we've got a pretty strong chance in this one of coming up with multiple riders in the top 10. And maybe if we can work together between them, we can pull some fireworks and make something happen. Meanwhile, in the sprint, Sean Bennett's got a 15-point lead over Marini with 2 stages left to go. And the mountain climbers, Keegan Swerble picked up big points with that one Category 1 climb where he went over the top first. Under 25s. 10 of those 25 guys are classified for that. 3 of them are mine. And as a team, we're on the same time as Trek and BMC. EF has lost some time with Arby's. Still 2 stages left, but here's how things stand right now in more than one way. So Quickstep, already 5-star projection. Lotto Soudal has really moved up in that department as a very competitive team now. EF Education has dropped off quite a bit. They're down to 3.5 stars. Bora have dropped off. UAE has really dropped off. And there we are, just outside of being a 3.5 star contender ourselves. Number 22 on the list. 4 spots shy. We're not going to add anybody else, so no, we will not get promoted. I didn't expect that anyway. I think we've consolidated our position in Continental Pro a bit, as I kind of just barely got in last season. This season, we're almost 3.5 stars, and as another rider or 2 will develop, we'll get even better. As the budget improves next season, hopefully, we'll have the budget to then get that 1 or 2 riders and maybe make a push for World Tour. But last season, we barely squeezed into Continental Pro. This coming season, I think we should be comfortably there. And then we'll be looking at whether we need kind of 1 more year and a little bit more money to make something happen to get in, or whether we'll get there. But I think we'll get a lot closer to the top end of the list, like where we're at right now at 22. I think we'll definitely hold pretty comfortably at 22 maybe next year. But this year we could still drop down, into the 30s I don't think we'll be hovering down around 45, though. We should be okay on that part. There's a lot of signings still to come. And as a team, it's Quickstep, Movistar, Sunweb, and Sky. For us, we lead by 600 points over Wanty Group Gobert. And in the Super Prestige, it's actually Andrani Giacottoli who have a slight edge over us. We're looking good. 237 points in the gaming decathlon, 2,373 here. In game, good enough for 19th. And remember, the top 18 should be World Tour. We're ahead of EF Education first in points scored this year. Super Prestige by 400. That's actually a pretty big margin. You can see the big drop off from where we're at to already under 1,000. Direct Energy only just over 1,000. Big Continental Pro team that has done a lot of things over the years. Euskadi, Fortuneo Samsic, Vital Concept, all well below us in points. Cofidis a lot closer. Wanty Group Gobert a lot closer. Looking good. Looking good. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. And remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you want to join me on my journey, hit subscribe. And tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.